Welcome to the Growth Shift. I'm David Zilstra. Here's what I've learned after years in business. Every leader who's built something meaningful has a story, but the moment they had to shift, when failure forced innovation, when change became opportunity, when they chose growth over comfort. On this show, we dive into those pivotal moments, the setbacks that became breakthroughs, the strategic shifts that accelerated growth, and the frameworks that turn obstacles into opportunities. Because here's the truth. In a world where change is the only constant, the leaders who thrive aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who've learned to shift strategically through it. So whether you're facing your own pivot point or just want to learn from someone who's been there, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. This episode is brought to you by Valentix. At Valentix, we help coaches and consultants who are struggling with generating consistent, high-quality leads, automating their client onboarding processes, and scaling their operations without simply adding more hours or headcount. Most of the time, our clients come to us frustrated because they're bogged down in manual tasks, feel like they're missing out on the power of modern technology. But with the right strategy and AI-powered solutions, they're able to streamline their workflows, attract better opportunities, and achieve sustainable growth. If that sounds like you or someone you know, learn more at valentix.io. Now let's dive into today's episode. Today on the Growth Shift, we are incredibly excited to welcome Dave Pygon, the dynamic founder of Pygon One. Dave's journey is a powerful testament to competitive drive and strategic leadership. Having transitioned from a college athlete to a top sales performer at ADP, then leading national sales teams in healthcare for over 2 decades. Now as an entrepreneur, he's empowering individuals and organizations to unlock their full potential through communication, leadership development, and emotional intelligence. Dave is not just a coach. He's an author, a prolific podcaster, and an Ironman athlete, embodying his philosophy of building the skills and traits for personal and professional excellence. His high-energy approach and deep insights into human performance make him an invaluable guide for our audience. Dave, welcome to the Growth Shift.
David, I tell you, I talk about giving people energy deposits. You just gave me a deposit of energy today with that kind introduction, so thank you, and I'm honored to be here.
Amazing. Excited to take that energy into our conversation today. Dave, excited to take that energy into our conversation today. Now, your career trajectory from competitive college athlete to leadership roles in national sales and healthcare, and now as a founder of Pygon One, showcases a remarkable drive for excellence. Could you share a little bit more about your background and what foundational experiences or principles from your early competitive days have most profoundly shaped your approach to sales, leadership, and ultimately entrepreneurship as well?
Yes, David, I think everybody can look back in time when they either had a shift, when something influenced them, inspired them, whatever you want to look at. I would say it was really growing up on the south side of Chicago. And by the way, for everyone out there who has not been to the south side of Chicago, the stereotypes about us, they're like 99.9% true. They're right on target. They are real. So don't let any of my friends tell you they're not. It's how I was raised. My mother raised 3 boys on her own. We were blessed. Our grandparents were heavily involved. And she was brilliant. And she still is. You need to do your academics. You need to be good people. And we want you to play as many sports as possible. Why? She wanted to keep us busy. She wanted to keep us off the streets. She wanted us to keep it moving. What she developed in us all at a young age was the competitive drive. You have to do well at school. And you're busy. You're busy. And when you're competing in academics and you're competing in sports, you get that competitive drive. So I think it all starts there. And then that led, I just happened to my brothers and I, we happen to love sports. And from that led to, we just love to compete. And even to this day, I'll fast forward, the biggest reason, or at least one of the biggest reasons I did the Ironman for the first time this year at 55 was I miss competing at that kind of level in a sport.
Now, what do you think it is specifically from, what you learned through athletics and through competition that perhaps led you to being able to lead a national sales team at the level that you did?
Yeah, so I think there's certain things about sports that are just amazing. And one of them is, it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your race, religion, any of that stuff, right? It's all people coming together with one common goal usually, and that's to kick butt and win and compete, generally speaking. I think those skills give you, if you're paying attention and if you're on good teams and you really care, you just get those skills. Some of them, I really believe, David, some people have some natural tendencies and traits towards leadership, but most of us have to learn it and have to steal from it and experiences. And my background in sports, and I just enjoy being around people. I like it. I do like my alone time, of course, but I enjoy that. I enjoy going to meetings. We just had a big talk here in Chicago the last couple of days with leaders. I loved it. I'm a galvanizer and the working genius. I love galvanizing people around projects, tasks, services. So I think when you put that all together, that's how I became to where I am today. What do they say? Do what you enjoy. That's what I enjoy doing. Is I enjoy leading people and working with them and seeing them be successful. And the key to me in this whole leadership is listening, not telling. And I think that's what sometimes people think is they need to have all the answers. I don't even remember who said this. You might, David. If you're the smartest person in the room, get out of the room. I love that.
Great people referenced that before, but I couldn't agree more. So, Dave, I mean, you learned a lot about, business, let's say, and leadership within your time in athletics, right? There's the competition, there's the teamwork, there's the camaraderie as well. So you were able to develop yourself to a pretty prolific point within the corporate world, right? Of course, you would have been doing very well for yourself financially. You would have had a lot of respect, right? You would have made some great connections. Why decide to leave all of that, the success, the money, the notoriety, and start out on your own again?
Yes, it's a great. So it's embarrassing a little bit to admit this, but I think it's cool because I almost think this word is a little bit overused nowadays, personally, in the leadership world. It's so true, being vulnerable. It's used almost so often now, but I share with everybody. I made excuses every year, all the time. Money, time, family, all that stuff about not starting my own organization, my own little business here in Chicago. I always thought to myself, I want to do this. And then as I was getting closer and closer to 50, and then once I hit 50, I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it later on in life, and that's how I'll just end up retiring. And then finally I said, that's crazy. Like, now is the time. Go for it. This you can do for your next 15 to 20 years. And I finally decided to be bold. And can I share one thing that I've learned about bold versus risk? Okay, cool. I think you'll like it. I get why people don't take a risk. Just a word. Who wakes up every day? The average person in the world says, "Oh, I can't wait to take a risk today." And here's kind of a ridiculous example I give, but it just gets in all of our heads. David, if you and I got on a helicopter today, and they took us up and we were going to jump out of the helicopter or the plane, parachute. If the parachute opens, the risk we took, great. If it doesn't open, that was a bad risk. So what I always share with people is, if we can minimize the risk, and if we can choose our mindset of it's well thought out, it's strategic, we're minimizing the risk, knowing there's always going to be some, but we're minimizing it. We're using our support system, or what I like to use nowadays is our tribe, the people around us who know us the best, the smart people in different areas, and then we go through a process, and then we look at all that, put it all together, come up with that really strategic focused plan, evolve and change. We can be bold and go for it, whatever that might be, whatever that is. So that's kind of how I really share with my leaders, individual contributors out there, because we're not talking about having people start their own companies or start their own podcast. We're talking about you might need to make a bold move with that potential client to get them. You might need to make that bold move to take your current client to the next level. You might need to do something in your personal life, adopt that child, have the child maybe make a career change. Who knows? Those are all bold moves, and there's some risk involved, but we can minimize that if we go through a process.
And when it comes down to it, we're all taking risks every single day, right? The risk of, for looking at entrepreneurship, the risk of staying the same, staying stuck in a job and not having control over your fate and your impact in the long run, or the risk of jumping into that and facing the unknowns. Dave, you faced a lot of unknowns, of course, making that transition from a corporate role
Sure.
into being your own business leader, right? But I find that often as humans, we generally make those risks and concerns seem greater than they are, right? We always look at, oh, what's the worst case scenario? And our mind builds it up to be more than it actually is. So, I mean, what do you think it is that really holds people back from taking risks and, building up those concerns to be bigger than they actually are?
A couple things. I'm not a psychologist at all, but we just talked about this yesterday in a training session with a group of leaders in a financial institution here that I was doing a talk with yesterday. And we got into mindset and comfort zone and all that other stuff. And again, I'm not a psychologist, but my research does say this in my readings. Our brain is not built to make, hey, David, your brain is going to make you successful. Now, I get what people say, well, what are you talking about? That's what makes us read. And yes, it does. But your brain is there to protect you. The brain is, when you get near fire, it says, hey, whoa, don't touch that. Your brain is there to be a safety net for all of us. So for here in Chicago, it's kind of cold this morning, and my cold plunge is outside. My brain is saying it's 38 degrees. The plunge is 45. It's cold out there. Don't do it. Our brain is there to be safe and protecting us. So what I want to get to is, I was talking to my leaders the other day, and I said, some of our employees, and I'm talking to our employees that are people we want around. There's good, solid, not even superstars. They're just solid, good people, good employees. We need them. I'm not talking about the bottom feeders that they probably should look for a new career, not just for our benefit, but for their benefit. There's probably something there's a disconnect. They don't like it. There's a competency issue, whatever it might be. I really believe that. There's a place for everybody. It just might not be this. But I said, don't look down upon them when they don't change or evolve to where you want to go, or when you bring up something to them. Now I didn't say don't hold them accountable and don't let them off the hook. But look at the data. They're probably falling into a comfort zone. Their brain is protecting them and say, hey, stay in the safe zone. Don't take that chance. Why take that chance? Stay safe, man. Stay safe. Don't go in the plunge today. It's cold out there. So if we know that, we now know what we're going. I don't want to say against, because I don't want to make it us against them. But no, what's holding them back could be just natural tendencies of comfort, safety. So these are all the things that we kind of got to go through as a leader, because many times leaders can get frustrated when they can't get their people to evolve and change. When they get up in front of a room and say, okay, we're going to do this. Let's go. Everybody good? Yes. And then it doesn't happen. Well, because then once people get back to I grew up as a Batman, Marvel comic, all those people. I don't even know if Batman's Marvel. It's actually the other one, I think. But I grew up in that, so I love the Batcave. I use that as a metaphor all the time. They go back to the Batcave and they go, I don't know, this isn't for me. And their brain starts fighting against them and working against them. So I have on my flip chart, brain, friend or foe. It's probably both, obviously, but it can be our foe too. So we need to know that in that whole conscious and unconscious behavior. And again, I'm not a psychologist, but those things are factors when we're leading people, leading family members, and leading ourselves, that our conscious behaviors versus our unconscious, they play a role.
Dave, you started Pygon One about 5 years ago, right? And before that, you had always wanted to get into entrepreneurship, go out on your own, but there were things holding you back, right? You were staying in your comfort zone, but you got to a point where you decided to take that plunge, right? You broke
Yes.
outside of the comfort zone, regardless of those unknown unknowns and the fears that might have been in your head around it. Of course, you were making educated decisions and you were taking educated risks. But, in those first few years in business for yourself, right? Certainly there were unknown unknowns that came up and things that you had to grow through. What were some of the biggest lessons or impactful moments for you through those initial years that really just showed you how it is you needed to move forwards?
I'm only going to share my experience. I'm not going to talk in generalities for other people and other organizations, because I think and I believe every small business owner most likely has a little different journey, my guess. I think some of the basic principles are the same or similar, but I think there's other things, the roads are a little different. And my experience is once I finally said, you know what, and it wasn't a midlife crisis, right as I got around that 50 age and just over, but wasn't in my brain that said, enough is enough. Let's go. Let's try it. What's the worst thing that can happen? I'll go back to corporate America. I'm confident enough somebody will hire me. I'll find a job somewhere. And that really inspired and motivated me, especially when I was talking to my inner circle. And you're going to hear me talk about my inner circle a lot and my support system or tribe. Why? They know me well, so they can help me. They can support me. They know when I'm getting off the track. They know when I'm right on the track. So when I went to them and I said, with this, they helped give me confidence. If anybody can do it, you can. Like, those are powerful. People believing in you. So what I would say to people out there listening and being a small business owner, what started out is, hey, Pygon One is going to be this. Here are I think my buddy out on the East Coast, Nick, I came to him and I said, I think these are our 9 things that we can really do to help people and organizations, small, medium, or large, get to the next level in what I call essential skills: leadership, communication, problem solving, doing some kind of DISC assessment, strengths assessments, problem solving, boundaries. There's all these different and more. And he goes, okay, good start. You got to get it down. That's too many, way too many things. You're going to be good at none of them. Okay, made sense. Come back. Down to 6. Great. Okay, now you got to get it down. My point of more going to this was I started out so broad because I was thinking I can help so many people in so many different ways. And that's really not the best approach. Plus, people want you to be in a lane or two, not 22. And even now, as 4 years into this, it's evolving. The iterations, the things that we're doing. I know we're going to touch a little bit about AI, but how AI is helping me. And I'm talking to my clients about who aren't changing right now and aren't using AI. And not that I am the tech expert, because I'm not. That's Ken Scales, my friend, who I call him on that. But I do know enough where you need to investigate this. And when people talk about it, you need to be very curious to learn more about it. So where I'm going with this, and to fully answer your question, is being a small business owner, you have to be really nimble. And I'd even say for our listeners out there who aren't in small business, they're in large, huge companies, they got to be nimble too. Their competitors have never been better than they are today. I was blessed 30 years ago. Our competitor was good, but now they're even better and there's even more of them. So we've got to be nimble. We got to change. I'm creating a new curriculum right now, all based on my Ironman and my Ironman training on how to transform and evolve, not to be an Ironman, David, but the little I know about you, you're going through your own Ironman challenge right now at work. Same principles to help you get to where you need to go, whether you're doing the Ironman or at work. Did I say that? I know I kind of went all over a little bit, but
Hey, no, yeah, I think that answers the question, right? You started at a point where you wanted to help so many people with so many things, right? Very broad, but you quickly learned that, I think as many people know, especially the marketers out there, you try and help everyone, you try and sell to everyone, you end up helping no one, right? You need to
yes.
be very specific with who it is you help and how you do so. Otherwise, how are you actually going to be able to help them achieve any outcome at all? So, Dave, you went through that journey, you narrowed down, you figured out a few key ways that it is that you wanted to work with your clients and have an impact. So, you're now dedicated to helping individuals and organizations be their best selves, right? Through development and communication, leadership, and emotional intelligence. But can you tell us a little bit more concisely? I mean, what did you actually come to? How is it now you're focused on helping companies, and who do you really work with?
Yeah, so it's interesting. When I go to, we do a ton of networking, meeting people, seeing how we can help each other. Networking is not people buying from me. Networking is meeting amazing, wonderful people, having conversations, and who knows where it goes. And sometimes it's me buying the product. Sometimes it's me introducing to my new buddy David in Canada, right? It's all over the place. Some people absolutely love what I'm about to say when I'm in big group settings, sharing what I do, and some people hate it. And that's this. But I have no way of getting around this. What I do, it doesn't matter if you're a 4-person insurance agency or if you're a middle-sized company, like a ShipBob here in Chicago, or if you're like Bloomberg or Novartis Biotechnology, a huge company. Because our superpower is one simple thing: people. It's people. We don't care about the vertical. We don't care if they're $1 million to $5 million company. We don't care if they're a $20 billion company or $14 billion company, because it doesn't matter. Our superpower, our secret sauce is the people and how we can help the people become their best selves. And Do we ever get to our best selves? I don't know if we do. But you know what? We're doggone going to try it. And the things that we have to go do that, we can get you better than you were yesterday. And this is not some self-help pity party. This is principal strategies that's going to help you kick ass. Because I just know that this is one thing general comment I can make throughout Canada, the United States, the UK, and pretty much everywhere in the world. Generally speaking, most employees, they really want two things. There's other things, but these two, I can pretty much go into any organization around the world. They want to do well and be successful. There are very few people that are waking up in Toronto, Montreal, Chicago saying, I want to go to work today and I'm okay if I suck. They're not saying that. Now, they might be tired, their energy might be lacking, they might not be inspired, they might not love their boss. All of that could be true. But they want to be successful. And if you can do it in the right way to give them tools to help them and connect with their hearts and their minds, they're in all day. If you don't, they're not. The last thing is people want joy or happy. A lot of people have been using the word joy. Now, great. Let's go with joy. People want joy. They want to be happy. If you can help people in those two areas, get them better at their job, be more successful. Didn't say micromanage. Didn't say hit them over the head. I said provide the tools and resources. Get buy-in and get them to the next level and whatever. Executive presence. Learning how to public speak so they stay away from fillers. They will embrace it and they will get better. And if you can help them get joy at work, knowing the whole day is not meant to be a Mardi Gras, but there has to be some joy in what they do. You've now got a good
thing, right? You need to have joy and you need fulfillment, right? Fulfillment you get by getting better every day, continuing to progress, moving forwards and feeling fulfilled with what it is that you're doing, right? Happy with the result of your efforts. So Dave, business ultimately is done by people for people, right? So you're focused on the people within organizations to help them improve, help their companies improve, and help them perhaps feel valued and feel valuable as well. It speaks volumes. Could you perhaps share any specific success stories about a client engagement where your approach to coaching led to a significant breakthrough in leadership or communication or overall productivity? Let's see this in action.
Yeah, absolutely. There's tons of them. Literally, and I don't say that arrogantly. I'm sure people who do what I do, I'm sure they've got those as well too. So there's a lot of talented women and men out there, all the respect for them. With that said, I'll give you one example. Brought in to do a big talk in front of, 300 people. Turns out, after the talk on Win the 16, and Win the 16 is a big talk. That could be an 8-hour talk. But we customize it to what the client looked for. And that's usually, in my opinion, step one. We'll bring the energy, we'll bring the positivity, we'll bring the strong content, but we need the leaders on the other side, meaning the organization, say, hey, here's what our people need. Here's what's important to us. They've now given us the answers to the test. We'll drive it home and we'll make it work. So what happened was they went through it where you did an hour-long talk. Sometimes those talks can be very educational, tons of information. Other times they can be just corporate entertainment. You get one or two things and everyone feels good about themselves and leaves. So I always ask my clients, are you looking for corporate entertainment, which is cool, we can do that, I'm a capitalist, or are you looking for us rolling up our sleeves a little bit? High energy, positive, but getting more than just that. This was one of those ones. We got on stage, meaning me, got the information. By the end, I was outside waiting to sign my book. The line was down the hall. In fact, the next sessions were starting, and they were like, you got to come in, and there were people were like, no, we're going to talk about some of the things that we just did. So let's fast forward now. We got the buy-in. They loved the conversation, the topic. Well, then that turned out to, we started doing small trainings with these groups and specific skill sets. Then from there, we ended up doing one-on-one things with the leaders. From there, you fast forward of a relationship over 2 years, and that company's culture better, retaining people, less of losing people. Because look they're learning, they're getting something new, they're developing, they're feeling empowered, and results are better. It all goes. The key there is, though, people that are looking for hiring me and changing overnight, it's not turnkey. It's not. If you're looking for us to come in and all of a sudden tomorrow you're going to be up 10% in your sales, or we're going to decrease your turnover by 10% overnight. No, it needs time. It takes commitment. And people, the biggest objection we ever get is time that people say. Time. We don't have time to do this. We don't have time. And I always say, let me just tell you, next year, time's not going to be any friendlier to you. Time's never going to get better. But if it's really a priority, we can roll up our sleeves together. We'll make the time. We'll make the commitment. We'll find the time. And I use this word, and we can jump off this to your next question. Even for every individual out there, I know you're busy, whether with your family, your work, whatever. All the respect for you. Only thing I would love to give you one piece of advice. If you really want to do something, I don't care what, maybe you want to exercise every day for 20 minutes, read, whatever, and you're not doing it because time's not on your side, all I would tell you to do is this. Compete. Compete for your time. Work at it. Look at it. Study it. Reflect back on your week. They talk about in many different articles and research and data now supports that people that are truly successful, they reflect back on their week and look at what did I do. You might find and be surprised where you could pick up 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes there. And before you know it, we just added 40 minutes in your life where you now can get some reading done. You can get that exercise you need in, because we just know when we exercise, we feel better. We're smarter. We're just better. Compete. Go for it. Look for it. Go on the aggressive route and study it and see it. What you might find is you can find it most likely, instead of being what many people do who just say, I'm busy, I don't have time.
So Dave, it sounds like you take an approach to business coaching and transformation, a similar one to athletics, right? Looking at what is the end result that you want to achieve, right? Looking at where is that starting point? How long is it that you need to get there? Yes, but I mean, what are those small incremental changes that need to be made, right? Being bought into that long-term vision and the outcome, and just taking the daily action, looking for those small areas of improvement to perhaps make 1% improvements day over day until you've completely revolutionized in the long term. So, I mean, this is a long-term approach that you're getting clients to buy into, right? As anyone should if they want to make significant change. For your approach to business coaching and consulting, I mean, there's a lot of noise in the market, right? It's difficult to get in front of the right people and have them buy into your vision, especially if it's a long-term one and it's not, turnkey. Because I think all executives and business leaders know that there is no overnight fix, right? There's no overnight success. So in the back of their mind, they know that they need to buy into the long-term vision, but it can be difficult to get people in front of you for those right conversations. With that said, I mean, I think a lot of the audience here are also facing a similar challenge of getting in front of the right people for the right conversations. In your position, what specific strategies are you prioritizing to cut through the market noise we're all facing right now to effectively communicate that long-term value of Pygon One's offerings to decision makers in your market?
So we're humans, but at least so far, we're not robots yet. We're not yet. David, I give them I give them the short-term wins too, but I make sure I tie the two together. And I'm talking about these 10% gains and things like those are long-term. So loud and clear, there's long-term gains that are going to come your way if you can hang in there. But there's got to be a short-term win. There has to be. Very few people can go to that, okay, I'll do this, and then my win is going to come. I'll give you an example. So I just did my first Ironman. It was 61 weeks of training. That's 431 days that it took me from the day I started, 6 days a week till the day there. If my only win was going to be going across the finish line, which that was the big win, right? But it had to be the small wins that went through it. Meaning the first day I was able to swim without having to stop. Big win. That's a small win in the whole totality of the thing. But at that moment, big win. The first time I did a brick, meaning you ride your bike for a while and then you get off and then you have to run. It sounds easy, but at first that's really hard. You're like, oh, I can't even pick up my legs. But then you start getting these small wins. You're like, I did that mile or two or three pain-free. I felt great. Same thing in business. What we give our clients is, here's what we can get in the long term. Here's what we'll get in the short term. Just by me coming in the door, you have now already put a fork through your steak on your table and said, hey, we're making some changes. That's a culture builder. That shows the organization you're evolving. That shows them you're putting money. I always tell them, brag to your people. We're spending money. I always do. And I said, hey, you need to thank your leaders here because they're investing in you. Like, I love you. You're great. You're amazing, but I don't do it free. They're investing in you. That's pretty cool. They're spending money on you and your development. Those are small wins, David, for an organization. I mean, I'm getting really, really granular here. People buy into that if you're selling it, if you're articulating it. And I'm not afraid to back away from the word selling, right? Some people they don't like your salesman, but that's what I'm selling. And my clients, I tell them, you should be selling that to your people. That, you know what? We haven't invested in people development like we should have. We're accountable for that. But that changes now. You get a win from that. That's the kind of thing people can see, touch, and feel. Maybe they don't go to the competitor. So there are things that we can do as we're talking to organizations, as we're trying to build out things to help them long term, that we can say. One of my friends, David in Utah, he always says, small win every day. And what I try to tell my clients is, we can get a small win every day. Every time I touch your people, that's a small win. That's a reflection of you and what you're giving them and offering them. Because their last organization wasn't doing it. How do we know? Ask them. Have you ever had your own coach before? No. Pretty cool. When you go out with your friends or your family members and you say, you're getting coached, do you guys have a business coach? No. That's a value add. Those are small wins. Now, that's not the big, hey, we just grew the business by 10%. But those are small wins that we need to be advocating for ourselves, consultants, speakers out there with our potential clients.
So you're focusing on small wins to help your clients gain momentum and, gain momentum towards those big wins long term as well, right? Now, you yourself, you're about 5 years into business with Pygon One, right? You're definitely past those first few uncertain years, and I'm sure you've seen a series of small wins. So when we look at how your small wins are starting to accumulate towards bigger goals, what are you focused on right now internally at Pygon One for expansion and growth? Now that you've established what it is you do, who you help, and the impact that you can have, what are you working towards for 2026 even?
Yes, well, new curriculum. And it's funny, I just said this yesterday. My buddies sometimes think the new curriculum is I sit behind my desk, I get a hold of my marketer, and we just play with Canva. And all of a sudden we pop up new slides, new data, and here's content. They don't realize the reading, the research that goes into it. Then we get content that we think that's going to work. Then we vet it out. I always say we have 5 to 10 leaders all throughout global United States who validate everything we do. We send it, we get their opinions, thoughts. Will this work? Won't it work? Why? Now we have a good idea. For instance, right now, what organization, what people in the world can't buy into the idea if we were a little bit better at change agility or change agile or transformational, whatever buzzword you want to use, that wouldn't help them. Who can argue that? Because the only thing we know that's going to happen in 2026 is we're going to probably need to evolve to be our best selves. And the organizations out there that don't have a new product, that they have new competitors, or their competitors are even coming faster and furious, and that company still needs to grow by double digits, how are they going to do it? What are they going to do? Same people, same team, same products, nothing new, new competitors coming out. They're going to have to evolve. And the people who evolve the fastest, the most efficient, are probably the people in that organization that are going to be the most successful. So what I'm building right now, and again, it's about 3 to 6 months for us to get our content to the market so it's fresh, ready to go and to make a major difference in these people's lives and organizations. That's what's going to be new for us in 2026. We're launching in January our transformational program for individuals and organizations, change curves, models. And I want to throw this out to people. Sometimes when we meet people that maybe don't change and evolve as quickly as we'd like, I know we touched a little bit earlier. One of the things I'm proposing to all my clients next year who we do this program with and we spend time with is, if we're all honest and we all raise our hands, the people that are a little slow to change, I don't want to say we look down upon them, but they might frustrate us a little bit, or we're like, oh, my buddy David in Canada, God, he's just so hard to get him to move and all that other stuff. It's kind of a negative connotation, and I get it, and I understand it. What I'm going to be sharing with people is we got to stop that. We love David. He's a really good employee. He does this well. He does that well. Here's his superpower. He brings so much to an organization. But you know what he doesn't do at the highest of levels? Change isn't his thing. Instead of beating him up every time we try to push him a little bit, why don't we say, David, this isn't your thing. You do so many things well. But you know what? That's what I'm here for, is to help you. as your leader, this is where I can help. This is where I can get involved. Now, in the leader's back of their mind, why some of us don't do that is because it takes time. And time isn't always on leaders' sides. But the reality of it is, if you really want to be a good boss, leader, manager, whatever you call yourself, this is what David needs. It's not about you. It's not about you. What does David really need? He needs somebody that's maybe side by side with him to get this thing rolling. Maybe to get some small wins in this change, whatever you're evolving, change it so he can see it, touch it, feel it, because it's scary to him. Or he's built on stability and comfort. And change is not stability and comfort. He might be in the world of DISC and S. They are amazing. We love them. My wife is that. They're stable. They're reliable. They're usually always early for work. They care about others. But change isn't their thing. That's what we need to do. And that's part of my curriculum is looking at our people who, don't look at them as they're fighting. Look at them as they're just kind of almost crying out for help. Like, I'm not good at it. This is overwhelming to me. That's a totally different approach, my friend. And your success, if you do that, is going to be much higher. So that's just one thing I know.
So we're talking about change here. We're talking about evolution and rapidly evolving as well. I mean, you're rolling out a new curriculum for the beginning of 2026. It sounds pretty revolutionary. It sounds like it could have an incredible impact as well. There's a lot of market forces right now combating against coaches such as yourself, who are in a similar position, taking something revolutionary to the market that can really have a true impact. Dave, what are some of the biggest challenges that you're facing right now going into 2026, rolling out a new curriculum to actually get this to the people who need it?
Yes. I can't speak for all the small business owners out there, nor would I ever do that. What I will say is this. From my world that I live in, I just said it yesterday, when I first started Pygon One Consulting, I spent 95% of my time on networking, building my ecosystem, selling, market, whatever you want to, all of that. That's what I did. So now that, I've got the kind of cool posts on social media, I've got some, pretty big name clients as well as some little smaller clients that are all, they're both different and they're both amazing. And they both bring different challenges and they both bring wonderful things to us. They both teach me. That's the benefit of what I get to do. I get to teach them and they teach me in the same time. I'm getting smarter by the day. I'm like AI. I'm getting smarter by the day because of them and what they're teaching me. So here's the deal. Now I'm down to selling and marketing and networking and building my ecosystem to about 50 to 60% of the time. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Someone said this a while ago and they're right. The best salesperson in a small business is the owner. Nobody knows it more. You can't delegate. Somebody says, why don't you hire somebody to do what? You can't hire them to do that. There's no one better than me to do it. Like I'm the face. I'm the one who wrote the book. I'm the one who's got the podcast. I'm the one who now has done the Ironman, right? Like I'm the one. People ultimately to get them. People can support you in the sales, get all that, but you've got to be out there doing that. And if you don't like doing that, I'm guessing it's probably pretty difficult. And you're probably going to struggle getting on more clients and keeping clients because, it's like any organization. A lot of times people want to meet even, the big companies. They want the CEO to come to dinner. They want the vice president of sales there. They want the general manager there sometimes, right? All a part of that. I would say that's pivotal is you've got to somehow embrace that if you don't love doing that. You've got to find a passion because that's the bloodline, in my opinion, for small businesses. Mm-hmm. And someone out there could prove me wrong. Can't argue that. I think generally speaking, though, you're the face. You got to be out there. I don't want to say hustling because you're just hustling in other ways. I would say in what I do, I can never stop that. So even when you and I got connected, how could I say no to a smart, intelligent, good guy in Canada where this might lead to? I don't know. But that's the curiosity I think a small business miner also needs is not only to always keep yourself out there. You don't know what connection is going to lead to another connection that's going to lead to another connection. And that means
it sounds like some of the biggest challenges you're up right now are similar to many other small business owners, right?
Yeah.
That time factor, right? Needing to be so involved in things like client acquisition and marketing, but you're not on your own anymore, right? You've been able to reduce that from 90% of your time to maybe about 50 to 60% of your time, right? Earlier, you mentioned something that I know is helping you a lot in your business day to day that I want to chat about now as well, AI. right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have momentum, you have a revolutionary way to help your clients, something to bring out to the market that's really going to help people develop their people, companies develop their people further to really grow beyond where they have been able to go before, right? So now where does AI come into play to help you connect all of these dots, to save some time, to, get out the message further and connect with the right people?
Can I answer that question, but go back on one thing that I think might help people?
Yes, please.
So one of my expertise is efficiency and effectiveness to get to productivity.
Mm.
I talk about it in the book, Win the 16. Talk about it all the time. I talk about manage your day by the minute, manage it by the hour, like manage it. It's your time. Don't be a victim. The victim is, oh, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. And I said earlier, make time, find it, compete, move it around, learn to say no to certain things. And here's the hard part. There might be something in your job that you kind of like to do. It might even be fun, let's say. But the reality is you might need to say no to that this Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock because you got the opportunity to talk to your new friend David in Canada who makes more business sense potentially. Or it might not mean anything. But that's what you need to do. So here's what I'm saying to everybody is schedule in your day the important stuff. Block it out. I always tell people, sending out invoices is part of the job. It just is. If we don't get the money coming in, our doors are going to close. But that's not productive. That's not mindful productivity. That's just doing what's part of the job. Talking to my clients, bringing on new clients. That's the productive part of my day. So within our day, I literally will schedule my time of when is the best time to talk to clients, when is not the best time. And with the non-best times, that's when I'll do the invoicing or I'll do content. But that's how I schedule to ensure that I'm getting those things in my day. So I just wanted to say that before we jump into AI is if you do that, guess what happens? It actually gets done because it's in your schedule. You don't go, oh, it's the end of the month. I've got to get all my invoices out. Yeah, as soon as I get done what I need to do in terms of productivity first. So, okay, AI.
Where does it come into play, right? We're talking productivity, we're talking about time management, efficiency, optimization. You're managing a lot of things, but you've been able to reduce some of those efforts, such as, marketing and sales from 90% of your effort to 50 to 60% while still maintaining growth. Right, so I'm only assuming that you're leveraging things such as technology to make these things easier for you. So, again, you're talking about efficiency, time management, optimization. How is it that you're starting to use technology and AI to be able to leverage that to allow you to grow even further?
One, I'm not an expert in technology. I'm not an expert in AI, so I want to say that right out of the gate. Janet, my marketer, she's using it even more than I am with all the wonderful things she's creating and doing. So I want to say that first of all. With that said, let's just start out with some of the basic. Many people know this. I don't know if they're all executing it, but all of my, let's say, thank you notes, all of my introduction goes through AI and then I save it and it's done. And so when I need to do that, I can just go to my file, click done. I can thank David for the podcast. I can thank that person for the meeting. And I can make sure it was written at a high level because I used ChatGPT to get it. Now, everyone knows it, but I have to say this. Make sure you read it. I find that it's usually 80 to 90% correct. I need to always change it. And the good news is, though, once I make my little changes to it, I save it to my file. So whenever I need this kind of letter, email, whatever have you, I've got it filed, organized. I go right to it. It's simple. I can get it out. But I, at least my experience has been, it's really good. But please make sure you read it because you're going to find some things in there at times where it's like, whoa. The other thing I've learned, and again, I'm probably telling people what they know, is the more specific you are to what you put in, the more you use it, the more it's like a personal assistant in a lot of ways. It gets to know you. So it gets a feel for how you communicate with it. And it gets better and better the more you use it. The more specific. I want professional, clear content. I want an 80-20 on a framework for a business that's in manufacturing. I mean, the more you give it, the better it will be. If you do the generic,
We're talking here about offloading some low leverage tasks, right? Saving yourself time and optimizing time as well. A lot of
Correct.
business owners and a lot of professionals are using it in this way already, right? But a lot of them as well are starting to think, hey, I can replace employees. I can replace humans with AI, and I can really start to give it some high leverage tasks as well, where, this can be true if it's used properly and you know what you're doing. I'd love to get another perspective from you as well, right? I mean, from your perspective as a sales and leadership expert, what are the critical human skills that become even more essential for business owners and their teams to cultivate as AI becomes increasingly prevalent in their workflows? Where should they actually lean into the human side rather than in the artificial side?
Well, the human side of this is never going to go away completely, right? I mean, that's let's stick on the sales side of it. We need those bodies. We need those people out there articulating, listening, and listening some more from the clients, because AI doesn't do that. They don't ask the right questions to get people to tell them and understand them. Okay, so that's going to be there. I think where humans are coming into massive plane is deciphering what AI tells us. We're not going to do everything. Like, I believe in analytics, always have. But it's my job to interpret the analytics to the situation and see where it makes sense and where it doesn't. Now, many times that makes total sense. But there are other times where it needs me to decipher and read it and understand it and say, that might make sense here, that makes sense, and then manipulate and use it, or that doesn't make sense. So that I don't think will go away. It's funny you should ask this question. I've got one organization we're going through right now where they're using the tool to help their people spending time in the right places. They're using it as a roadmap on where they need to be based on market opportunity, based on where the market is going. Because a lot of times people are a little just behind. The data says this over the last how many years? Yeah, but it's changing so fast. They start do a whole marketing plan, and now all of a sudden they're behind because it's outdated. So they're using an on-time AI to really get their people to be going to the right places at the right time. So we didn't lose any people. We're just using AI to roadmap them to where they need to go now.
It's an enhancement. It's enhancement for things like strategic thinking, critical evaluation. It's data, and it can move data faster and gather it quicker, and often more accurately as well, as long as you know what you're doing. But it just allows us to be who we are in a greater way, let's say, or what's required of humans in business. Steve, your high energy approach and insights into personal and professional development are very inspiring. To conclude, based on your philosophy of identifying priorities and then rolling up our sleeves to figure things out, what would you say is the single most important piece of advice that you'd offer to our audience who might be striving to be their best selves and drive meaningful results in their business?
This one's easy, really hard to do, but easy. And it's not novel when you hear it. But I would ask you just to close your eyes and listen and think. January 1st comes rolling around. Many people have resolutions. These people are wonderful people many times. As you can see, my energy, positivity, when I talk about people, it's usually in the highest. I don't talk about the bottom feeders, the bad people, the lazy. They're in their boat. That's fine. They do them. Most of us are pretty good people. We want to do good things. January 1st comes around. We have all the thoughts of, we got a resolution. We're going to do this, and this year. Let's go. And by February, it's dead. It's not because you're bad, and it's not because you're lazy. Now, people say, oh, no, here's why. It's simple. It's simple, but hard to do. When you create that goal in your business or for your best self, just go one step further. What habit or 2 or 3 am I creating and deleting from my life to make sure this goal works and gets done? Let's just, the basic, simple one many people use, but let's keep it simple.
Amazing.
I am going to work out this January 1st, and I'm going to do it. Great. Awesome. I know you and I believe in that heavily. Great. So proud of you. The next question out of our mouth as a leader, when we've got people that say they're going to do something and they say their goals are going to be, you know what, I'm going to drive business by 7%. I'm going to bring on 3 new accounts this year in Q1. Great. I'm so awesome to hear from you. What habits are you going to create to get there? What are you going to do specifically? And if you don't have it, don't worry about it. Go back and let's talk in a day or 2. I want to know your specific habits that you are going to create and delete to get you to the results you want to achieve your goal. Goals are wonderful, but they're absolutely useless if you don't create the habits and delete the habits that are killing you. That's my simple message out there. If people do that in organizations, and we remind them, in team, remember, you got to remind them in April again, habits, habits, habits. Because habits is what drives results, not goals. Goals just gives us the vision to start. The habits is what the hard part is. But we got to do that. That's the key, my friend.
Dave, thank you so much for your insights, your lessons, and your journey sharing with us today on the Growth Shift podcast. For anyone who might like to connect with you to learn more about what you're doing or to perhaps even seek out working with you in your programs, what would be the best way to find you online?
Let me just say first, if anyone contacts me, I'm going to ask you all about what you do in your living and your life first. So I want to learn about you as well because we're in this together. But I can be reached at the letter D, Pygon, that's DPYGON, at Pygon One, PYGONONE.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Dave Pygon. You'll find me, the book. I'm out there, not that difficult. And I'd love to just talk to you about anything. And I'm blessed that I get to support people and listen to them on a daily basis.
Thanks again for joining us on the Growth Shift today.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on another episode of the Growth Shift. If this conversation sparked something for you, whether it's a new perspective on failure, a strategy you want to try, or just the reminder that every setback can become a setup for something bigger, hit that subscribe button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, the leaders who thrive aren't the ones who avoid change. They're the ones who shift strategically through it. If you're ready to build the systems that help you grow without the chaos, head over to valentix.io. We help businesses like yours scale smarter, not harder. I'm David Zylstra, and I'll see you in the next shift.